Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday Live where I answer questions that you guys sent in. So recently, we're going to talk about weight training and Pilates. Specifically, the question was like, what Pilates exercises will help with my weight training? And so I really am excited to get into this. And I posted it also on Instagram. I was talking about this. People got really excited. And I actually, I love seeing that because 20 years ago, people were really much like, I got to do this or this. And like, people weren't seeing that there's such a great combo in the two. And so, well, not everybody, but some people. So we're going to get into that in just a second. But 3 announcements that I want to discuss with you, class. First of all, the OPC tour is a few weeks away. We have 14 cities that we are going to. 5 are completely sold out. And good morning. Hi. Wonderful. Thank you. Um, so we have 14 seats we're going to, 5 that are completely sold out. So if you are wanting to join us the tour, you can get tickets still for Nashville. We're doing a Swan workshop, and this is Brad. We have Knoxville, OPC.me/tour. We have Knoxville. There's actually a wonderful mat class and workshop happening there. And so even if you could travel in, go to Dollywood, but also the mat class is on this rooftop with like a beautiful view of the mountains. I'm so excited to do that. Then we're going to go to Greensboro, North Carolina. I have a mat class and workshop there. We're going to go to Augusta. Augusta, the class just sold out, but there's space in the workshop. We're going to Atlanta, that's sold out. Huntsville, Alabama, that has a few spots left in the workshop. Birmingham has a few spots left in the workshop. Jackson is sold out. Frisco has a couple spots left in the workshop. El Paso, I think there's 1 spot left in the class. And then there's space in the workshop. And then Tucson sold out, but there's space in the workshop in Las Vegas. So it is selling out really, really fast. So opc.me/tour is where you're going to go for your tickets. Second announcement. Something I'm doing every weekend right now is running a teacher training program. Yes, I created a teacher training program. I said I would never do it. I lied. I'm doing it. And I want you to go, if you want to learn to be a teacher from my program that I'm creating from the educators that I'm handpicking who've gone through my Elevate program, then you can go to OPC. No, that's not it. It's xxll.co/UWS. xxll.co/UWS. That is, if you've done like a couple, like a mat training or a reformer training, Uplift is the program. It's gonna be great for you. And then you can go through my year-long 600-hour program. It's really a lovely, like it's here to help you be ready and really understand Joe and his systems. If you're already a comprehensively trained teacher and you're wanting to study directly with me, and you also, and people who study directly with me in Elevate get to then apply to be an educator for Uplift. You don't have to want to be that. You could just want to go through Elevate. You can apply now for my 2028 program at Lesley Logan. Brad normally does this, but we're in the Uplift program. So Elevate, lesleylogan.co/elevate. We're taking applications right now. Hi, user LMG96. How do we send in questions to be addressed of future lives? I'm OPC member. Oh, hi, OPC member. 2 ways you can do it. If you're an OPC member, you can put them in the actual community and you get them answered right away. You don't even have to wait for a live. You can just get them answered. So you put them in there. Diana, our community manager, all the other OPC teachers, and I will jump in and answer that. Second way is if it's an exercise that you're struggling with, you can film yourself doing it, submit it inside that community forum. There's a place to do that. You don't have to be public about it. Like you can choose, yes, the community can see it, or no, the community cannot. And then I personally look at you doing the exercise and give you personalized feedback. So those are the 2 best ways. If you submit to the community, and I think it would be great also to do a live on, I'll take it to a live. If you want to ensure you want to do all of that stuff, you could do those 2 things, and you can make a comment on any YouTube video and then put them in the YouTube live lineup. Okay, great question. All right, so I'll see you in the Dogs in Birmingham. Hope. I know, I can't wait. Okay, you guys are here. You guys want to talk about strength training, weightlifting, Pilates exercises that benefit it. So here's a couple things. I am so grateful. About a little over a year now, I've been working with a really amazing trainer online. Her Instagram handle is sculpture.me, sculpt with a K. She's an incredible trainer. She puts out free workouts all the time, so definitely take advantage of those. I've been working with her for a little over a year. That said, I've been weight training since 2010. I've always had a trainer. Prior to that, I actually did a personal training certification because when I was a runner, before I knew what Pilates was, so back in high school, before 2001, which is like when I wouldn't have heard about Pilates, most likely because there was no internet doing it and there was a lawsuit going on. So I was doing weight training workouts to benefit running, right? So I've been, my boyfriend at the time was also a trainer. So like I've been working around weights for a long time. And I prefer to do weights with a trainer, even though I did a personal training certificate, because I don't do that. I did it. I actually did the certificate before I became a Pilates instructor, but I actually never trained as a trainer. And so for me, it's like, while I have the knowledge, I don't want to use it. I would like to have an expert do it. So I highly recommend finding a trainer that aligns with your goals and the things that you like. But the question was like, how can Pilates help? What Pilates exercise will help with weight training? And the actual reality is like everything and depends, right? What do you need? So for me, I use weight training to tell me where my focus of my extra exercises needs to be in my Pilates practice. What I mean by that, well, if I'm doing reformer and then some mat and then something else on a barrel, Cadillac, chair, yes, I can pick those based off what I need to do better in Pilates, or I will use my weight training to help me with that. So for example, if I had I used to work with trainers and they would send me their clients to help with their form. So when they would do a squat, their knees would fall in or their knees would fall out. So of course, we're using the reformer footwork to help with realignment, but then I'm using the chair and the leg springs to help with mobility and balance challenge, right? So in my weight training experience, I will notice like what doesn't feel very good, or what feels like I'm struggling to have the range of motion that I want, or where do I feel like I'm losing my balance? And then I will take that into my Pilates practice and I'll look at like which exercises either increase the mobility from that, increase the connection for that strength. There's no spot training that I do in Pilates or in weight training, but also like how can I help myself? So for example, I was noticing that when I went to go do a deadlift, there's something going on with my lower back and my knee that were working together. And so like I had to keep having my barbell elevated about 6 inches, because if I went too low, even though my form was perfect, even though I had eyes on me, I filmed myself, form was perfect, I would feel something in my knee. And I'm like, what is going on? So without my trainer, she was encouraging me to go lower. But what I was doing in my own practice was like looking at my tree exercise on the barrels. I was looking at on the reformer. I was looking at my knee stretches, like looking at different exercises in Pilates that go in and out of the same shapes that I'm trying to do. And also recreate that work so I could see like what is happening. And really what it was is while I am hypermobile, I have a tight spot in my low back around my sacrum. And that is pulling on my knee. So I had to actually open that up, which meant that in a lot of Pilates exercise, I was kind of skipping that spot because I'm hypermobile, because I can make things work without having to have all the parts. I was skipping it. So it really helped me understand why I need to dive deeper. And so what I will say to all of you is I don't have a hierarchy in my mind of what fitness modalities are better than others. I do not. I don't even care about those arguments. I don't need to see your scientific studies, because the reality is no one has actually paid for a classical Pilates scientific study on building strength, because they cost a lot of money. But you could actually do that, because with classical work, we have the same order on the mat and on the reformer. And we tend to have the same ending exercises. And so you could really actually test someone from day 1 to day 30, day 60 really well. I have had clients who've done DEXA scans after working with me 2 to 3 times a week. And after 3 months, their DEXA scans have gotten better. So it's not a scientific study. That's an anecdotal story, but I have seen that happen. But does that mean that Pilates is better than weight training? No, nor is weight training better than Pilates. I will die on that hill. They actually work so well together. I think we really need to, I know we're busy. I know everyone is just trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, but the reality is that we actually need to be more thoughtful about just having, yes, we have to do all the things. Now, Do you have to do all the things all the time? How much time do you spend on these things? That you really have to be thoughtful for yourself, but just, you can't be an all or nothing mindset. I do have the lifestyle where I can weight train 5 days a week for over an hour. And I can do the Pilates that I do several days a week. Now, I have Pilates studio in my home. My gym is a 7-minute drive away. I don't have kids and I work for myself. So obviously, like, I've got these things. That said, if you don't have that same freedom, what can you do and how can you get help, right? Is there a gym that has childcare? Maybe it's a little more expensive, but it has childcare, and so it allows you to do these things. Can you do stuff at home? Can you do your mat Pilates at home? So you're only going to a Pilates studio 1 day a week for the reformer. Can you then do some strength training at home and then go to the gym for others? Can you do 30 minutes each day? Can you do 10 minutes each day? Like, what can you do to start out and then let things build on top of that? If you go back to my podcast in December of 2025 into January of 2026, we do a whole habit series. And the reality is, habits are not built by all or nothing mindsets, willpower, motivation. They are built on little things over time, and then built when that gets easier, adding to it. And so I just want to say, like, yeah, you got to do it. You got to do all of them. Now, what I will say is, if you are struggling with mobility in your strength training, meaning it feels like your shoulders are tight or your back is tight or your quads are tight, then I would suggest that you're really spending some time with your mat reformer and some Cadillac. Really, really great stuff. If you're struggling with balance, then I want you doing some 1-to-chair stuff, some 2x4. That's going to be really, really effective. If it's a spine form thing, then we've got to work on our barrels and our high chair, really helping us understand what's a tall back. How do we get that thoracic extension so you're not rounding forward? If your shoulders are forward, you definitely have to be on those barrels. And so the reason why, when I was working as a Pilates instructor at a gym, most of my clients came from the trainer, is not because the trainer wasn't good at what they did. It's because the client, even as they got stronger, some of the form pieces in their body were just not getting better. So it was limiting the progress they could make. So the people were being sent to me to help them ground into their feet, to help their knees align the way they wanted in different moves, to help their thoracic mobility so that their shoulder heads could actually be on their back and not develop forward like this. And so Pilates is not your ab day. If you are someone who does strength training, you're watching this and you're like, oh, I'll do Pilates as my ab day. I heard several trainers say, oh, you can do Pilates for your ab day. No. Please don't do that, because Pilates is more than abs. But what we do, because we work from the center, that increases our posture, and that is what's going to have a positive outcome on your form and your weight training. My weight training has made it more possible for me to do some of the more strength-based Pilates moves. My hanging pull-ups have always been really hard for me because of grip strength. And because of the weight training I'm working on, that has gotten easier much faster, right? So they work hand in hand, my loves. But what are your goals in your weight training? That's going to dictate what we do in Pilates. The last thing I'm going to say on this, and I'll let you go, is Pilates, the way I do Pilates, my springs are quite heavy. Okay. My springs all have the same resistance and they are quite heavy. And a lot of people go, well, I can't do it on the heavy spring, so that's why I want the lighter spring. But that lighter spring is actually going to challenge your core in a whole different way. And so it's technically a more advanced setting in my way of teaching Pilates and doing Pilates. If an exercise calls for 2 springs and I go to 1, that's because I'm challenging someone's connections. And I can also go down to none. So the way I see it is that if you can't do a heavier spring because you don't have the strength, going lighter is not how we get you stronger. We have to actually do some other things around that. I love the classical heavy springs and my heavy weight training, because the two challenge me in a different way. They challenge my muscles in a different way. They stress my body in a different way. So I find it to be really fun. But please do not confuse Pilates as your ab day for your weight training. That's not what it is. It is in addition to. It's also, in my book, not something I consider my workout for the week. Pilates is a functional movement practice. Pilates is a functional movement practice. Pilates is why I can do all these other things. It's why I can go hike. It's why I can lift weights. It's why I can do yoga. It's why I can walk my dogs. It's why I can try a rock climbing class, right? So when it comes to, like how I fuel myself, how I set up what my workout sessions are going to be for the week, I don't consider Pilates in that, because half the time my Whoop band doesn't even realize I'm doing Pilates. And I do a classical advanced reformer where I do a headstand. So I just say, like, because it rarely gets me into zone one, even with my heavy breathing, even with all these things, it really isn't something that I put in my workout practice. I put my weight trainings there, my zone twos there. So I hope that gives you some insight. I hope it gives you permission to love both. I hope that gives you permission to explore the Pilates that you're doing. Is it serving you, or is it checking a box? Is it just helping you feel the burn? We're not here to do Pilates to fill a burn, just like I don't think my trainer would want me doing weight training just to fill a burn. We are all here to have longevity. So Pilates helps with that longevity. Really, really does. So I hope this gives you some permission to do both. If you struggle with the timing of doing both, get help. I got help with my weight training because I wanted to have less things in my head to have to do so that I could actually go do that, look forward to doing that, and then I just have to deal with what my Pilates practice is. All right, loves, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's live. Make sure you check out our tour route and go to opc.me/tour. If you want to do my teacher training program next year, xxll.co/UWS. If you're already a comprehensively trained teacher and you want to train directly with me in my mentorship program, you want to go to lesleylogan.co/elevate. Thank you all so very much and have an awesome day.